Oh, yes! Back. And I didn't plan anything. Remember these big ass cups? Like, did you guys ever go to like CC's Pizza or any pizza place? Like, you remember these big ass cups? I saw these at a store, had to have them. And you remember whenever you go to the pizza place, it felt like the cups were never actually fully clean. They always had like a nice layer of like pepperoni grease on them. I've been getting really nostalgic lately. Nostalgia aside, pizza greasy cups. So I was sitting out here in the garage today working, thinking about what am I going to do for this video that I owe you guys every Thursday. And here it is, 7:30 at night, and I have approximately 4.5 hours to deliver it. And then it dawned on me in my deep, deep thoughts that I should do a video about the most commonly used tools that I use. So back in January, I finally hung up my uniform after 20 years of service to my illustrious Marine Corps. And in that time, I have learned a lot. I worked in the aviation field over there, and a few things were driven into me about tools. Okay, one, take care of your tools, they'll take care of you. And when they're not taken care of, which is most of the tools that the government buys, it sucks. So here at home, I'm a little OCD about my own personal tools. The other one is accountability to your tools, because in the aviation side of the house, we have a saying, it only takes one bolt to crash an aircraft. And that's true. It doesn't take a whole lot of missing tools to make an aircraft fall from the sky at a greater than desired rate of descent. Okay? So making sure you have all your tools. If you don't really care, like in a car, it's just I pull off to the side of the road. Well, it's still your money you're talking about here. So I'm a huge tool guy, huge tool guy. I love my tools. And I was sitting in here, like over the past couple of months, I've been like racking my brain on how to make the most of what I have here, which is just a standard 2-car garage. I live in the suburbs, I have an HOA and all of that. And how can I maximize the usage of the space that I have, as limited as it is? And I think I've got it dialed in pretty good. I've essentially have 10 pounds of in a 5-pound bag. We have MIG welder, TIG welder, plasma cutter, 20-ton press. I basically have everything in here with a full fabrication shop short of a lift. And I also have a splinter in my finger, which is going to distract me, ow, fuck, throughout the rest of this video. There's a few basic tools that I use literally on a daily basis. For the basic mechanic at home that may not realize that these tools even exist, or how much of a moneymaker they are. And by moneymaker, I mean time saver, convenience item, whatever you want to call it. Just nice to have. So without further ado, let's do the do. First thing on this list are these little guys right here. I literally buy these in bulk almost. These are called flush cuts or flush cut wire cutters, whatever you want to call them. Just call them awesome. Call Amazon, call whoever, and get yourself a pair. You can also pick these up locally at like a Michael's or any arts and crafts store that has like a jewelry section. These things are exactly what they do, what they're called. They cut stuff off completely flush. For me, the most common usage is this. Cutting zip ties off. Once you cut it with a flush cut, this thing is not going to leave behind any sharp edges or cat nails or cat claw or something like that. If you cut it with a standard pair of wire cutters, you can see they usually leave behind a little bit of an edge or a ridge that when you're least expecting it, and the next time you go to work on a car, this is going to slice you all to hell. And then there's a special place. Is this? Hello?
Congratulations. You have been selected by Carnival Cruises to receive an 8-day, 7-night...
We're going on a boat! I quit! Turns out it was a scam. And I think somebody just stole my identity. So, where was I? Oh, we were talking about the special place in hell for telemarketers, which are probably the same pieces of shit that cut zip ties like this, like that. You see that? If you are the colossal sucker that cuts zip ties like this and leaves them on a car, there's a special place in hell for you. I hope, I know nobody loves you, nobody cares about you because you're some psychopathic, sadistic son of a bitch that's like You're borderline a serial killer if you do this. That's the thing. You're a serial killer. You're just too big of a to actually go out and actually kill somebody. So you're like, I'm going to slowly bleed out humanity. One cut zip tie at a time, starting with all the good mechanics in the world, right? And you're just going to reach your hand in here. Imagine reaching up underneath the dashboard to run a wire, doing a stereo installation, maybe a gauge installation, and some previous dickhead was working on the car, some tech that had no business doing anything on an automobile. He probably got fired his third day, and he left you this little present. And this is just waiting to slit your wrist up to your elbow because they didn't have flush cuts. Don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. That guy is a lunatic. Flush cuts. Available on Amazon. Buy them in bulk. Number 2 on our list of 3 to 5 things, depending on how long this video goes, is this. I've always joked around that if I ever got any sort of a sponsorship for a race car that was like a corporate deal, I wanted it to be a brake clean company, brake cleaner. This is probably, for one point in time, was one of the most used things that I had. If you've ever had to buy brake clean though, you know like one can of this stuff when it's on sale is like $3. And I always used to buy it as much as I could. And these cans don't last long, depending on how dirty the job is that you're doing. This is not the tip, okay? I'm just saying that you can replace this with this. This is acetone, okay? Acetone goes in this. This is a squeeze bottle that people, hopefully I keep spraying stuff over at my hot water heater, not realizing it's a gas heater and has a pilot light. So I just sprayed acetone all over my hot water heater. So this could get dicey. Anyway, so this can, $3 to $5 a can, depending on what you get. This is about $8, I think. And it fills up a couple of these bottles right here. This will replace this in most situations, unless, obviously you can see I still have brake clean. I keep that thing on me for certain reasons, but mostly in the garage here, acetone has replaced what I used to use brake clean for in most situations because number of reasons. 1, it's cheaper. 2, it doesn't linger around in the air as long as brake clean does. Acetone kind of dissipates, it fades away much, much quicker. It doesn't leave behind a residue or anything like that. So cleaning up parts or wiping off like sticker residue or gunk or grease or something like that, wiping off some metal before you weld it is a big one. This stuff works fantastic. Brake clean will do the same thing. However, with brake clean, especially when it comes time for welding, there's some things that you need to be aware of. This right here is non-chlorinated. Non-chlorinated is the good stuff. There's another kind of brake clean out there called non-flammable. Remember this, non-flammable means non-fun, okay? Sometimes you gotta kill spiders, okay? But the non-flammable has chlorine in it, okay? And when it's chlorinated brake clean, when you expose it to high heat and UV rays, i.e. welding, it turns into and releases phosgene gas. Look it up, that's a pH. Phosgene gas is gnarly, it's toxic, it's nerve damaging, it will kill your sense of smell, it can cause permanent brain damage, and in high amounts, it can be lethal. So, in order to save me from myself and make sure that I don't inadvertently use some no fun allowed brake clean, I have switched entirely over to using acetone. So these squeeze bottles, you can find them for like $7 on Amazon. Just type in like squeeze bottle and you'll find up like sterile. If you ever gotten a tattoo of like David Hasselhoff on your lower back when you're in spring break in Daytona Beach, Florida, when you're done making poor, permanent, life-altering decisions, take a glance over at your tattoo artist's hand and he's probably using a little bottle that looks something like this in order to... Hi. Bye. Clean off the terrible mistake that you have just permanently affixed to your lower back. Oh man, it was a hell of a spring break. And the last couple of things on our list of 3 to 5 items that you must have for every at-home DIYer, that's a mouthful, that's not the title of this video, I haven't thought of that yet, are these. You've accumulated enough hand tools to get the job done. You got ratchets, you got wrenches, you got sockets, you got some hammers, you got some pliers, you got some flush cuts, you got your acetone, brake clean imposter. Now it's time to start getting into the territory of power tools. And these are the two that I would recommend you start with. One of these, I waited way too long to get, is this. This is a 3/8 drive ratchet. Now, in the past few years, lithium battery technology has made it so that these power tools are getting smaller, more compact, and exponentially more powerful. All this power is in this little teeny tiny battery right here that fits in the palm of my hand. I got 12 volts of power that will run this 3/8 drive ratchet for hours on end. And I have 4 of these battery packs because when you buy these tool kits, they come with usually multiple batteries. This thing is a moneymaker. You get your hand inside of an engine bay where you can't turn the ratchet, you just squeeze the handle. You have to be careful with it though, but you don't want to use this thing as a breaker bar. The head of this thing is not the strongest, knock on wood. I have not broken it yet. I also take care of it. I have not abused it. So your results may vary if you do not pick a quality brand. However, I will say, get what you can afford. Not everybody can go out and afford to drop a whole bunch of money, a few hundreds of dollars, because that's what this is going to cost if you want to get into the Milwaukee brand stuff. The Milwaukee stuff has a bunch of badass tools and support and warranties behind it. Get what you can afford though. I'm not going to judge you if you go to some big Chinese box store and buy an off-brand. It's not going to matter to me. Just go out there, have fun, and save yourself some time, headache, and heartache. The other one I would recommend, and I've had one of these in my toolbox, multiple brands for years, is this 3/8 drive. Well, this is 3/8 drive, but it's a 1/4 inch chuck impact, electric impact. I can put a 1/4 inch drive, 3/8 drive, 1/2 inch drive chuck in the thing. And this thing has a assload of power. This is their M18 lineup. I've done full video on the Milwaukee stuff, but out of all the Milwaukee cordless tools that I have, these are the two that I utilize the most, and I think that these are the two that saved me the most time when it comes to taking apart a car or putting them back together. You're not gonna sit here doing this number right here, spinning your wrench until you get like Popeye forearms, because these right here are gonna do all of the work for you. If you're like me, where your time is better spent doing other tasks besides just doing this righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, then these things right here will save you so much time. I'm adamant that these are probably the two best investments that you can put into your toolbox if you can afford to do so. The Milwaukee lineup of power tools has basically all but replaced my entire drawer full of air tools. I have a whole bunch of tools for my air compressor that I don't even use anymore, short of filling up tires or blowing off some sort of parts to clean up some stuff. That's the only time my air compressor ever gets turned on anymore. Everything. Lithium battery technology has just crushed it. And this thing will power my kid's Power Wheels around in the front yard so she stays out of my hair for hours on end. So there you go. That's a dad hack right there. You can sign that off with your wife and tell her it's for the kids. That's it. So head over to Amazon. You can get yourself some flush cuts. Get yourself a squeeze bottle of or get yourself some tools. I'm Ryan. I'm out. I sprayed acetone all over my TV.